You.
You're right.
I did. Yeah. No problem. Let's see.
People take the minutes usually on the agenda.
Yeah.
Copy and paste it.
Yeah, that's basically what. I sent you the Word document.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, good. Thank you, yeah. That's too many digits. 677 315. You know, I've done something wrong. Oh, maybe I can tell from this one. It is unlocked. Yeah, there was a meeting before us.
What was the meeting for?
Race and equity. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's gonna get rid of it.
Yeah. A big responsibility having that,
Yeah. And forget what it was.
Thank you for last one.
Sure. I didn't need chair
Who chaired?
for that. I opened the door.
why is this? Well, how does that work? These meeting IDs. What? Oh. Oh. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Hmm. Oh. Hmm. Hmm.
Relatively. Started. Two. For doctors. Totally decided to. Finally. Stage.
It's to prepare brain to what's in it.
Yeah,
Mm,
and I didn't like, we had this. Check up with the vet, 2 months before. And I said, what do you recommend? Like, it's like, it's all the doctor, we were taught to figure out end of life before it's the end of life.
You don't understand emergency.
Right. And, so like, the same thing with Tom. I think it's a little premature for that, but here's a, because he's a pretty.
We're,
So,
mm, yeah, we went through that about 2 weeks ago with my, with Sarah, my partner's, son's dog, who they'd been staying at our house. And we had the peaceful passages, I think is the woman. Peaceful Pathways. Is she the one who came and helped you? Yeah, Jen. Jen is her. Jen, yeah. Yeah, she came to our house, so. That's,
what a job.
what a job. My God.
And for us, it's like a lot of people. Music or. Meetings. It's just my thing. Looking back, it's not wrestling. Dog, but
Mhm. Let me ask, are either of you super users of Zoom? Because, well, it wouldn't work if we had a meeting ID, but the descriptor they have on the agenda is a webinar ID, and it has more digits than Zoom meeting ID should have, so.
No, that's one.
Yeah. Right. Okay, well, I don't know how to do this. Rebecca's not here and Ronnie's not here, so we need Lovey and or Leslie, or we can't meet. So, yeah, no, it's odd that, the meeting ID inside of Zoom is listed as the same thing, same number. Hello.
a little, very good.
Oh, that's so weird. I don't know what to do. I have the passcode and I have what is the purported meeting ID, but when you try to join the Zoom meeting on this day, which is the for the room. Doesn't. Meeting ID. Meeting ID. Yeah, it's the wrong number of digits. Okay, or I guess we're not gonna happen. Actually, we could, we can have, I take that back. There will be people who will potentially be on this PC. This is- Yeah, I'm turning off the system, turning it back on. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, the schoolhouse is muted.
So sorry. Thank you. Can you hear us now, Judy?
Yes, thank you.
Sorry. Okay, yeah, we were just talking about the things we've been putting out on PV Forum, which we've called public service announcements. And the one that Anita has drafted recently is about food waste, and Jay has another one about EV transportation. And I think we're gonna run the EV transportation one pretty much now and then delay this one, yours, like 2 weeks or so.
Sure.
That make sense? Okay. Yeah, Jay, did you already send it to me or?
No, not yet. I'll do that.
Oh,
I won't send it to you during the meeting.
you don't, no, don't do that.
I won't do that,
not supposed to
but
do
I'll send
that.
it to you later.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I think short, I mean, you know, for PV Forum, if you write something too long, it's not gonna get attention. So I think a couple paragraphs about a topic that's really well done, up to a page or two. Yeah.
How about
but not-
three?
What's that?
How about three?
Or three? Is yours three? That's good. Three is
Three's
good.
great, yeah.
Okay.
But tips are important as what we discussed last time, as opposed to just information. I mean, what, I did plastics and we cut out here's all the bad things about plastics because we figured everybody knew the information about why plastics are bad. And we just put a couple sentences in, but then we kind of concentrated on what people can do to take plastics out of their lives.
I think the really important finding that Lovey brought to us by reviewing a book on effective marketing campaigns or effective, you know, engagement of the public about to get change in related to sustainability is that the more personal it is, the more it's something about, you know, what we ourselves have done, the more you can have that peer impact, social sort of impact, the better, right? So just straightforward information sharing kinds of things don't work. Wasn't that basically it, Avi?
Unfortunately, education is not the prime mover, it's peer pressure.
Yeah. So
Or
we're trying.
peer information, like, you know, what I had to go through to get a law, you know, and the steps that resonates much more, you know, what your neighbor is doing than just an information campaign.
I know we talked about that before, and that's true, and I agree with it. The thing that I already wrote is really addressing myths of EVs. So it is very informational. I think a big personal thing with EVs is a little bit of like, suck it up. A lot of it is a little less convenient than going to a gas station, but it's kind of like my personal experience is, yeah, it's less convenient. You gotta deal with it. You know, it's a decision that we make. Is that it is less convenient to own an EV than it is to own an internal combustion engine car. I'm taking a road trip with my friends next week, and there are places we can't go because there aren't chargers there. And it's definitely less convenient. So in some ways, telling my honest personal experience with an EV to a group of people, many of whom do not like to be inconvenienced, is tough, to be honest.
Yeah. But the more personal angle we can put on these write-ups, the better, I think, is the bottom line. So.
So maybe in the summer, God willing, in the future, right? I could write something about the buildings we're planning to do. Should happen in August.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so, yeah,
So I guess it's September.
September.
And then before that, I thought I caught from you an email asking for ideas for library loaners.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that tonight. Yeah, definitely.
I'm thinking out of the listings of those could come from.
Sure, yeah, good. Okay, I would open it up to anybody from the public that wants to comment or has questions? That would be you, Judy, but if not, we'll move on. So the library loaner program, that's the next topic, by the way. There are inputs I have from Rebecca and from Ronnie, right? And then I think somebody sent me, he sent me
I
some.
tried to send you 2 emails. I think the other one was too big, but I can tell you what categories and you can figure out.
So why don't we just go through and quickly list all of the different ideas, and then we can sort of walk through them sequentially and talk about them. But you want to just sort of enumerate your list?
Sure. So I had them in a few categories, and my thought was, let's look and see whether Amazon has a rich variety of these things, because who knows what's best. So there were some fire-related ones that were smoke detectors, fire detectors, which is different, fire prevention things, which were like mesh fire screen type things and metal siding. And so that was one, and I've given you the listings of each. There was energy related things, heat pumps, electric leaf blowers, wind turbines. There are some mini home ones now. And then there's evacuation related, and you guys will probably laugh at this, but I still think an e-bike is probably the way to get out, at least from our road. If you had a fire evacuation, we're up the Wiggly 90 Road, right? We're up those things. And then I walked my neighborhood a fair amount to get ready for some of these expeditions. And so I asked people, and one was an electric pole chainsaw, big deal for fire prevention. The fire directors I was seeing. And then there was food and soil. There's apparently some really nice compost tumblers you can have. So that was my list, and I don't know which categories you'll decide are relevant and which ones we should dig in deeper, but I think we could ask the wisdom of the forum to ask people around town, which ones of these do you have experience with, and have they helped? And that helps engage more people in sustainability for me. So that was mine.
Okay, great, thanks. Let's see, I have some from Ronnie, which I'll just read it. Number one, a collection of LED light bulbs, different sizes, brands, lumens, color, temperature for people to try out. Number two, a collection of household items to replace disposables and plastics. So he has a website on sustainable household products that save money. He likes the Lomi composter if we can swing it. He likes Rebecca's idea about an electric grill. You have to find one that's reasonably portable. He does not believe a bike makes sense because it's expensive and people can easily go to a bike shop and try them out. That's his view of bikes. He's ambivalent about garden tools like leaf blowers and weed whackers because PV Hardware already rents those, and he doesn't think we want to compete with them. So that's his. Let me read Rebecca's. She does have e-bike. The Emporia Smart Energy Monitor, which we're familiar with from Ronnie's work and the fact that we gave them away as at the fire prevention event. The Flume as an alternative to the Cal water meter, electric weed whacker, electric barbecue, and electric fireplace. That's an interesting one. So those are the ones from Ronnie and Rebecca. So maybe we just keep going, and any additional ones that you want to put in the mix, Anita?
So I just suggest the Lomi. I chatted with a Lomi, and I mentioned this to her, and she said we might have a warranty issue, but maybe we don't care. I mean,
By giving it out to people?
giving it out and getting it back. She said,
Really?
yeah, she suggested I contact whoever. It turned out a chat person at Lomi. You get on the website and it says, chat, and I hit the chat. Yeah.
You probably have the same issue with anything you run out.
Yeah. And I
Probably,
mean,
I don't know that we're concerned. I mean,
it's low enough cost that if it gets broken
Exactly.
after 6
Right.
months, we just declare it a loss. I mean,
Right.
it's not like we have to worry
Right.
about it.
Right. And she just suggested that we be really clear about the instructions for use, you know, what you put in, what you don't put in. Make
They're
sure
worried
you,
about liability.
they don't want it to break. They want everybody to have a good experience. So they don't want people to return it dirty. So you take, you know, when you take the compost out of the bucket, you're supposed to wash it or at least rinse it and get all the excess stuff out for the next time. And when you return it, so that would be something that we'd write up, make sure it's returned clean, the bucket's clean. And then the library would have to be in charge of watching for a filter change.
Yeah.
That bucket needs change
Okay,
every once
so
in
the
a while. So things
Lomi-
like that.
That's, good. Do you
Mhm.
have any others, Lovey, that you want to add to the list?
I've been thinking a lot about this. And I actually I go to the library frequently. What I have noticed is that there is a group of people who go to the library. And it's again, you know, it's a self-selecting group. So we're trying to reach a broader group.
Well, I would just say I think we do reach a broader group than those who go to the library because, for example, the backup power loaner has been loaned out, 10, 12 times. And so I think, and that's because we advertise for it on, I think, on PV
Is it-
Forum.
Has anybody done, some data collection about, okay, that exactly is interesting. How many, and has it peaked? Is it going down? Is it still going up? Anyway,
Mhm.
and I noticed that the induction cooktop was there, very nice, right inside the door, looks good. I want to say this. There are certain things I think, from my own personal experience that yes, like a monitor, energy monitor or something like that. On the other hand, you know how I compost? I go out in the ground and I dig a hole and I throw the stuff in the hole.
I
Like
saw
the guy on the
that comment on TV forum.
you
Yeah.
know, been doing it for years.
Sure.
Got holes all over the place. Why doesn't everybody do that? I mean,
Yeah,
don't understand
I
why
say
you
this
need a
all,
fancy machine.
I say this all the time, but people in this town like fancy machines. People in this town like fancy machines. And one of the ways to get the message of sustainability to people is with technology. Technology. And while I agree with you, I compost in a bin that I made out of reclaimed redwood and chicken wire. Most people don't do that,
Okay, well, I came up with a clothesline and clothespins. Hello?
Yeah, okay.
And in fact, get several.
It's called a solar dryer
Solar dryer.
and wind.
I mean, I actually went on Amazon or someplace and looked at what you can get on Amazon, and you can get these things with a pole that makes like an umbrella thing, or you can get the kind that retract in. There are various things, but I'd like to see everybody drying their clothes on a clothesline. That's just
But for actual things that we would put into the library, are there any other ones that, did you think the clothesline was such a thing?
eggs, they call it.
You don't mean that we would loan out just a clothesline. We would get something to hold the wires that you would put the clothes on from Amazon
Yeah,
and have people try it out.
It's wonderful to dry your clothes outside. It smells so great, and they're done. A couple hours. And the whole thing.
The sheets are stiff as a board, though. The sheets are very stiff, though. I do it, but I know.
Okay, all right. We're moving on to Jay. Jay. do you
I
have
really
any-
like the e-bike idea. I think there's, being a big cyclist, going in and trying to try something at a bike store is a nightmare most of the time. You get a hard time from the people who work there and you feel uncool for asking to use something. There's a big difference between trying something and trying it long-term. And I also think that the idea here in there are two ideas here. One is that you are getting to the person who's sustainably minded, who thinking, oh, I'd like to try out that solar panel and that thing, versus the other person who, like when I use my own power supply and then the cooktop for my daughter's birthday party so I could make everybody hot chocolate there. I used it for something and it didn't have anything to do with the sustainability aspect of it, but of course I cared about that. So an e-bike is an example of something somebody might not care at all about the green aspect of it. They might say, hey, my brother's in town and we want to take 2 e-bikes out and I want to take them around. But then when that person is going to purchase a bike or a car or whatever it is a year later, and they say, hey, you've gotten in the back door, so to speak. And so I think that's an advantage. That's like what the cooktop's all about, and what the e-bike could be all about. So I like that idea.
Okay, so we've got a number of things in the mix. So I'm sorry, I missed the meeting at which you gave feedback from Garrett at the library.
Oh,
And so I guess the question is Garrett's primary concern about space or it's
Yeah.
about space? Okay. And so was there any discussion of, okay, maybe we have this thing for 6 months and then we have a different thing for another 6? We didn't come up with any
We didn't.
solutions with Garrett.
Didn't really discuss it, except this, we discussed what his concerns probably are. And I think Rebecca or somebody said she knew that he was concerned about space. Somebody
Okay.
was talking, you were at the last meeting, right? But yeah, somebody at the meeting was talking about having spoken with him. I've never met him, but
Hmm.
having spoken with him about when you enter the library, there's only so much
I
space, and
see.
he's concerned about having to display a whole bunch
Too
of
many
stuff.
things.
And
Okay.
not only overwhelming people with so much stuff to choose from, but also, I don't think that was his concern. I think it was just running out of space. There's not much room there. I mean,
Yeah.
there's
Okay.
3
Okay.
tables.
So how does that connect with us adding things to the list?
He wants to know what our list is
Mhm.
going to be probably from now and forever, which is not possible, but maybe maybe a year's worth.
Okay.
And he wants to know how big the things are, I think. He didn't state that, but the consensus was he just wanted to know what the display of them would look like. And then we had a discussion about, well, maybe some of these things like the leaf blower could be, or the weed whacker could be stored somewhere else, not in the library.
Yeah, right. Well, that's what I would wonder is if there were 1 or 2 items highlighted as the loaners of the month or whatever, and other things were in the back storage room.
And there's a list,
And it's listed on the website.
or you keep the list right there.
The list is right there,
Item of
yeah.
the month is
Yeah.
displayed, and then you
Exactly.
have the list of what the other 8 items are.
So I guess we have to talk to him about
I think we need
these
to meet with
scenarios.
him and
Yeah.
maybe bring up our list. This is what we'd like. I don't know if how much money we have to buy these other things. I guess we
No, I
need to
think-
find out how expensive.
I
they
think,
are.
I think we have a budget of, order of $1,000 kind of per year probably to do this. So if we pick, if we picked an e-bike, we could probably pull that off. That's more than 1,000. But I suspect we could get permission to do that if we really felt it was important. So I think like one major item a year might be a
Yeah.
realistic goal.
Mhm. And then some smaller items, like
Yeah.
a clothesline might only be
Well, we might be able to
$5.
have a few of those.
Regarding leaf blower and that sort of thing, don't we not have an option in Portola Valley anyway? Right? The gas ones are now no longer allowed.
The gas
Correct.
ones are not allowed, and there was a whole program of conversion where you could
Yeah.
turn in your gas one and get a
Yeah.
discount on an electric one. And so I don't know whether we need to do more ourselves
Yeah.
for that, but
Well, you don't have a choice for what you're supposed to buy now.
you're not allowed to use a gas leaf blower.
Right, you have a
in
choice of
Portola Valley.
brand. So
Yeah.
if somebody wanted to try one out, the one we pick out.
But the kind of,
But-
I think the gentle persuasion of, try out an electric leaf blower. I mean, it's not like you're not allowed to use
Yeah.
gas one. is what
Yeah.
you're saying. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that might be a less fruitful
Yeah.
endeavor since
Um,
the law, which is beyond our suggestion, is already there.
Well, there was a suggestion from the Zoom folks, Christy, I think, that suggested that somebody may just want to borrow the leaf blower, I mean, not the leaf blower, the weed whacker to cut down some of their vegetation, one shot and then, take it back to the library.
But that doesn't help the mission of sustainability,
Right,
right?
that was her
That's just
suggestion.
doing a favor for somebody in town, which is nice, but it's not what
Right, which is what we all said.
we could, I mean, we could also get the 7 Harry Potter books to loan out to people and it's not a sustainability issue.
Yeah, which, I mean, along the lines of what might be in this list and not in this list. I thought you had a list which was really good. The ones around fire though, fire prevention, I mean, there are other committees that focus on emergency preparedness, fire preparation, et cetera. And so I think those don't really belong in the charter for sustainability.
Yeah, where we live, it's a big concern. Ask me for a list of it, so but I
Yeah.
understand, yes, great other people are taking care of it. Why I was motioning that I'd love to speak up is that if the library space is such a big concern, I'm wondering if there's a place that could benefit from highlighting these things, a different thing a week or a month, and maybe that's TV Hardware if they've got room. They'd maybe get more traffic in, if that's helpful to them, of like, hey, let's check out this week at the TV Hardware and see what that e-bike was like. And, it just might be a mutually beneficial thing.
Could be, yeah, it could be. I think we'd have to navigate the sort of public-private aspect of that, like because the city would be buying these things and then they would be in front of PV Hardware, which could be construed as an advertisement for PV Hardware as a business. So the library is a neutral, nonprofit place to do it. But it's an interesting idea because a lot of people go there looking for gadgets and things for the home. So, it's an interesting thought. So what do people feel is the best way to go through this list? Maybe, I mean, one thought I had was, what if each of us were to just say what the top two, of everything we've heard, what are the top 2 items for you? And we just sort of list those collectively and see whether there's a consensus or not, and whether more discussion is needed. Or do you want to walk through all the items and sort of discuss them individually? What do people think is a good process?
Top 2.
Top 2? Okay.
You want to make the list first and send it out, or you want to do it here tonight?
Well, we'd have to wait a month. So we could just use this. I mean, that's up to us. We could use this month as a collecting of ideas.
Okay,
I have your list. I have Rebecca's, Ronnie's, everything we talked about. We just make a big list and then we vote on that, but we can't really vote on that until we come back together, right? We're not allowed to do a process. I don't think we can do a voting process, in between now and next meeting. So if we want to,
can we meet with, are we allowed to meet with Garrett in the
Yeah,
meantime?
yeah, I mean, I was thinking maybe you and I can
Yeah.
go talk to Garrett and just
Mhm.
understand his
Concerns. I'd be happy
concerns
to.
and figure out, brainstorm some ways around it, et
Mhm.
cetera, to figure out.
Yeah.
So do people feel like this is something to do sort of deliberatively over a couple months, and it's fine to just use this meeting to bring the list together? And then next time we'll really pick 1 or 2, or do you want to try to push through and pick some items now?
I'm to be in favor of this.
Do we need to talk about any of these items more, or do people feel it's pretty self-explanatory?
What kind of monitor did Rebecca suggest, and what's it monitoring? Yeah, is it like that one where what kilowatt?
Well, it's the Emporio Smart Energy Monitor. So the little device it's a plug load measurement thing, and you stick it in. You can get like a pack of 4 of them. We handed these out at the fire prevention. This is our giveaway at the fire prevention thing.
Okay, those. Okay.
Yeah. So it'd be a collection of those that you could use to instrument your devices in your home and measure stuff.
You get one for each outlet, for each whatever.
Yeah, I don't think we'd be making
What's some kind of thing you could put on your.
not a circuit breaker. I don't think so. Yeah, we're talking about plug load. Okay, so that was one of them, plug load. So let me read the list that I have and please, I'm not sure I captured yours. So the e-bike, the Lomi composter, LEDs of various descriptions people can try out, collection of replacement things for plastics and collection of household items to replace disposables and plastics.
Don't know what that means.
Well, he has a website, so maybe that, let me just look at the website and see if I can quickly rattle off a couple.
While you're looking, I'll mention that there's now people making seaweed-based plastic bags.
So reusable K cups, coffee pods. So these are like coffee pod thing that you are reusable.
Okay.
So I would imagine they K cups. Silicone, like thick silicone reusable storage bags like Ziploc, but really robust. Reusable silicone straws.
Question. I want to check out a straw that somebody else has used.
Yeah.
I want to check out a plastic bag or a replacement for a
Okay.
plastic bag that somebody else has used.
I think you're making a good comment about this
I don't
particular
think,
idea.
I don't think this is going to go.
Swiffer
well.
You ever tried to
microfiber.
clean out a straw?
Swiffer microfiber mop pads. So yeah, I'm gonna use somebody's dirty mop pad. Wool dryer balls. Yeah, I think if you look at the actual list, they're not ones that one homeowner would want to take from another home. So I think, okay, let's exclude that. All right. Let me go back to the list. The e-bike, the Lomi, LED, a collection of LEDs, electric grill, the leaf blower, weed whipper stuff, the Emporio energy monitoring, smart plug energy monitoring, a Flume water meter that people could use, distinct from the one that's being provided by Cal Water. And what can you add?
I had some others, heat pump,
Heat pumps.
wind turbine, small,
Uh-huh.
these are for,
Are
for
these-
instance, if
Are
I,
these, are these portable heat pumps?
well, if I wanted to install a heat pump, my big question would be, how noisy is the bloody thing? And that's where it would be nice to see, I would want to know how noisy a heat pump was. I hear that they're pretty bad. But otherwise, it sounds like a great idea. So
We
it's
we
that
have
sort
one.
of-
It's not noisy.
Not noisy. Okay. So
I think maybe it's really, I agree with you. It's good to see it in action, but installing it isn't easy. And so borrowing it and taking it home and installing it.
Yeah, they're major.
maybe-
It's an air conditioner.
Yeah, they're major. You'd have to have it all installed
Things
professionally.
like that, it'd be good to be able to ask Jay or Ronnie to go see their installations and listen to it and see.
Yeah.
how-
You're right.
Yeah, I think that's a totally separate thing that we can have a list of people as resources who have these big ticket items, whether it's an EV, a heat pump water heater. You can
Yeah.
come over to my house and see if I actually have hot water, and what an induction stove in your home, you can have a list of people to contact and make an appointment
Yeah.
and come
people
check
who
out
are
my,
willing to-
That's a really great
Yeah.
idea.
the smart panel that I have, that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Again, that's,
Solar
you know,
panels on your
here-
house.
Here, what
Yeah.
my neighbor is doing. That's a great
I
idea.
love that.
But,
yeah.
We
you know,
may,
installing a heat pump, that takes a professional.
we may ask through PV Forum for people to volunteer to do that, who have
Mhm.
already.
be on
installed
that
it, To be
list.
on the list,
Be
like
on-
Richard Travell. He built his house
Mm.
with, all of that in mind, and there's stuff to see in his house and in addition, yeah.
That's a great
And
idea.
that can be on your list at the library.
Right.
Here are the
You're
things you can take here today. Here are the things we have in the back room. And here are the people you can call to email to talk about these big ticket items. And,
Okay. Okay, so that's wonderful.
or
So-
even like green construction. Somebody in town builds a net zero house or maybe that's what you're referring to. I don't know how much this person did, but you have your R55 insulation and et cetera, a gray water system. And stuff.
Okay, so the list include, I think, well, we just talked about heat pumps, so I think, I don't know, it's on the list,
This
but
is a better.
there's,
idea,
there's,
I
a
think,
yeah. Wind turbine, small wind house level wind turbines. What were the other, any others?
Let's see, that we're covered by, we did the whole fire related things that are not relevant. There was that eco tumbler, but it sounds like maybe we've
The
got a
Lomi,
town.
I think it's the same
Yeah, same
idea.
favorite, yeah, and then the e-bike, right?
E-bike, okay.
Which I
It-
think is dual purpose, right? You're saving energy, but I think also it's, for many of us, gonna be the only viable route.
The fire stuff is another thing. You have a person who has that stuff in their house as your contact.
There you
We've done a bunch of stuff. We had the consultant group come in, change out our gutters, change out this, that, the other thing. And you can have somebody come look at your house and say, well, if I pay all this money, what am I going to get?
Great.
Okay, so let me just quickly read the list again, and then we will each pick 2 items that we think are the hottest ones, and we will compare notes. Okay, the e-bike, the Lomi composter, a collection of LED bulbs, an electric grill, the leaf blower and or weed whipper, the Emporio smart plug monitoring, the Flume water meter, heat pumps, and home level wind turbine. Okay, so has everybody chosen their 2?
Are
we
you
ready?
ranking them? So are we doing a ranked choice here? Or are we
Oh, the
just
idea
picking
was just-
2 that are equal?
Oh,
Am I picking a number 1,
oh,
which gets 2 points, and a number 2, which gets 1 point?
this is getting complicated.
Is it ranked choice?
So, well, let's assume that we have the capacity to do 2 over the next. Yeah, why don't you, your first choice and your second choice? Let's do it that way. All right, so Jay.
My first choice is e-bike.
Okay, there's a 1 there.
E-bike.
E-bike. Okay, and your second
My
choice?
second choice is Lomi.
Okay, Lovey.
I have a question on something like that. So on an e-bike, somebody breaks it out and they get involved in an accident and they get killed or something?
Then we give them the town.
So this might influence your vote on not against the e-bike. So what is your vote?
The Emporio and the Flume.
In that order, the Emporio and the Flume?
No, Flume first, Emporio second.
Okay. Flume.
Third is the clothesline.
Okay, we're only doing 2 right now, but thank you. Anita,
The Lomi and the grill, the electric grill.
the electric grill.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would like to try it. I would borrow it.
Leslie,
E-bike and Lomi.
e-bike and Lomi. And I think I'm Lomi number 1 and the Emporio smart plug number 2. So I guess we're the only ones allowed to vote because our colleagues are not here. Even though they sent us emails, this is a voting, if we're doing votes, this is the Brown Act thing, so,
Do we
okay.
get to poll anybody is anybody watching?
Well, oh, Judy Murphy is, just a second. Judy, speak to us.
Hi there. I didn't want to vote. I just had a couple of comments. One was the smaller items that you were listing as you were going through things, or the bigger ones. Both might be better as educational tips posted, rather than trying to actually have straws and that kind of thing. The other is that when you're talking about these resource lists, which I think is a great idea, who in town's got this that could show you, et cetera, you might consider making a resource list that you have listed as one of the resources on your webpage. So it's there, doesn't need to be at the library. It could be at the library, but could also have this backup and live and be updated, every quarter or something on your webpage. And the other is the fire things, which I agree it's not appropriate for you to do. Fire should be doing, but here's a chance to coordinate with another committee and maybe help them use the library, maybe have them consider this idea and
Oh.
help them use the library to put some of those things that we think it would be good to be there. That's all. Thanks.
Great, that's great. Thank you. Yeah, really good ideas. Maybe when we talk to Garrett at the library, we should talk about both what our committee wants to do, but the possibility that there could be other things and we could
We could see the look
yeah,
on his
he
face.
would
and say-
probably would be horrified to think that it's way beyond, sustainability is just the start of it.
Yeah,
But we could at least see if, what does he make of that? Because those are great ideas, some of those for being at the library, so.
mhm.
And you might talk to the fire people before you scare the librarian.
Okay,
Is that
Yeah.
Jennifer?
Jennifer Hammer, I think
Yeah.
so. So maybe, is that something you'd want to do, Leslie? So Jennifer Hammer is the chair of the is it fire preparedness, I think?
Well, okay, prepared.
And so you could let her know about what we have going with the library and just see whether
Yeah.
something related for the fire technologies would be interesting to them, and then let me know and Anita know, and we can fold that into the discussion with Garrett when we meet him.
Mhm.
Okay, great. All right, so if we just look at the votes, the e-bike had 2 number ones, and the Lomi has 2 number ones and 2 number twos. So I think that would say the Lomi wins as the highest item. And then the e-bike would be next, because the electric grill had a second vote, and the Emporia energy monitors had 2 second votes. But the Lomi had 2 second votes and 2 first votes, and that's against the e-bike, which had only 2 first votes. So I think it's pretty clear that the sense of this group is the Lomi is first up to bat, and then the e-bike, if we're going to do another one, the e-bike is something too. And so that gives us time to think about the e-bike.
Mhm. And a good thing to talk to Garrett about, because that's a big thing that he's gonna have to
Yeah.
show or point to. Or
And
make
that
people-
is one, I think you're right, where we need to interact with the town and the town attorney about liability. That applies to all of these things. And there certainly is a waiver that gets signed when somebody borrows the solar and the backup power thing. But an e-bike is a completely different matter when you're out in traffic. So I think we could work with Brandy to figure out whether an e-bike is even feasible from a liability standpoint. So that's something I can take that on to understand that.
If it is, while you're talking with lawyers anyway, see whether PD hardware might be a place that one could
Okay,
look at.
yeah. Okay, well, we could do that, but maybe we need to, maybe be good to discuss among ourselves whether we like the idea better of the library being the locus of this thing, or whether we think having it at a commercial place like hardware store would be a good thing before I engage the town attorney.
I like keeping things away from, the hardware store, God bless them, is a for-profit business that sells a lot of things that don't have sustainability in mind,
Yeah,
and it's you go there to consume things, you know what I mean? And again, it's a business. I get it. I shop there. I'm there once a week, but still I think there's a little conflict of interest there.
mhm.
I'm just trying to think of places that have space. What about that Woodside Patrol? The local, at the back of the Parkside Grill parking lot, right? Is that a spot that might, I don't see a mutual benefit there, but they got space.
I think the question would be, the library has the advertising value, right? And they also have the electronic system for loaning. They have all that stuff is paved, and the liability waivers. And so any other place we find, we'd have to create all of that infrastructure also. Yeah. So, okay, so I think we have done this. Does Judy, your hand is still up, but I'm guessing that's from before. So I'm going to lower your hand, but go ahead and raise your hand again if you.
Sorry.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so we are going to move on then to the next item, which is. Actually, that is the meeting for this time. This is a meeting that is extremely short and efficient. So, I guess we could talk a little bit further about, if people want to, about what came up as this sort of list of resources. Or we could make that an agenda item for next time. How would we go about that? This is like people who have,
Yeah.
the heat pump and
I mean, we could talk, in less than an hour, we can talk about it for 10, 15 minutes and get something done.
I think as long as, let's see, can we say that it doesn't really fit in the agenda? I'm just
Okay.
thinking about that. So I guess we shouldn't probably talk about it because there might be members of the public who want to participate and
Well, we can make a list of agenda items for next time, right?
yes.
And those
yes.
agenda items could be identifying a person with a heat pump, identifying a person with an EV, identifying I mean,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
can make sure we put on the agenda all the different things that we're going to need to talk about next time.
Right. We could do that. Okay, so I think,
There's
Um,
another question.
yeah, please.
Question?
Yeah.
I was just, as we were discussing this, it suddenly thought, one of the things, the Conservation Committee or the Science Committee or one of those committees did was have a garden tour route,
Mhm,
tour gardens
mhm.
or drought tolerant plantings or whatever. We ought to consider with this list maybe of expertise or familiarity with, what about eventually a tour of sustainable homes?
So that happened last year, but
Yeah.
not, it happened in San Mateo and Santa Clara County. And I don't know what group put it on, but it was great.
But you could have the thing, I mean, it's a great point. You have it in this town.
We just
That's
did
an
Portola
ongoing
Valley.
resource,
Right.
you
So
know,
I don't
and you can
know-
have different aspects. You can have someone with, native, low, drought resistant plants. You can have somebody with the net zero home. There are so many different aspects of that because I'm sure no one has all of it.
Right.
you
So,
know.
but I was wondering if anybody knows who put that on, because it was so well done. It was one of the larger organizations that put it on. It was last.
But the new technology, new homes being built, or even, better yet, older homes that are retrofitting to bring in heat pumps and
Mhm.
things like that. I think that would go over well.
Yeah.
Was it Peninsula Clean Energy?
Let's see if I can.
So, yes, so I think like a home tour sounds like a great, so next time, let's have it on the agenda to talk about alternative ways to make expertise available to the community, including, having a list of people willing to engage on, hey, I did a heat pump, here's how it worked, to a tour, and we'll just have that be one.
Assuming you were sitting in your garage with all your with all your stuff.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to get in your garage.
Come on over. Come on, let's do it.
Yeah.
I wanted a tour of the garage.
So I'm saying for next time, list of alternative sources for maybe less mobile sustainability resources.
Yeah, yeah. And the idea of like the equivalent of a sustainability home tour, basically, where
There
you,
you go.
and it could, yeah. So anyway, we don't need to go deep into that now, but that's a great one for next time. What other topics for next time?
I personally am longing for an expensive enough TV. Well, of course, that's part of the motivation for me, but I mean, when you look at how dire things are and how few people can deny that anymore, why do any of us use gas at all anymore? financially, that's what I can do right now, drive my own car.
Mhm.
And so it's a frustrating situation. I wonder that I've been impressed with how this group is taking dilemmas into solutions. What do you guys think? Yeah.
You're asking about whether we could do more related to the adoption of EVs?
Consciousness raising and, how to do things. And it just occurred to me, it's, geez, zip EV cars here in
Mhm,
town would be
mhm.
a really nice thing. Right? That's, gosh, and I don't drive much since the pandemic started anyway. Wouldn't that be an interesting thing?
So Jay's, your post is all about EV
Mhm.
transportation, right?
Yeah, it's all about dispelling or confirming some of the supposed myths about it and what it's like to drive one.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. And, like EV zip cars is that a thing?
Could it be a thing?
Be a thing? Would Portola Valley be enough of a market to, we're such a small thing. I mean, you could imagine doing that at the scale of San Mateo County or something, but I don't know whether Portola Valley having zip cars at the library, I think the economics of that would not work out favorably.
For the people?
Well, even if it wasn't our committee's budget, even if it was the town that decided to do it to support, sustainability, I just, or could one get Zipcar? Yeah, to and say, we want to be your flagship, town, but I think the problem is with a flagship town of a population of 4,000, the usage of those EV zip cars is going to be too low. So they'd want to do it. If they're going to do it, they want to do it in downtown San Francisco, or So, but it's a great question of is there more we could do to promote EV adoption?
It would be better if the cars actually came to the house. The autonomously driven cars that are of the future still, where you summon them to your house. Because here in Portola Valley, most people are far away from the libraries, so getting to the library is gonna do it. But boy, someday when you can summon it, I think that would be fabulous.
And it won't kill anyone on the road.
Hopefully, yeah,
That minor detail.
yeah. So maybe 10 years away. I don't know.
So it's interesting. So I don't have the stats, but I imagine the average Portola Valley sedan is driven less than the average American sedan. Given that many people work from home, that there's a lot of great stuff kind of right here. A lot of people work within 10 miles of here.
Home to Roberts and
And
back.
right.
Right.
Or literally into Roberts. But interestingly, if you're not familiar, and this is in my write-up, for an EV to work, you have to drive it a lot because the initial carbon footprint of the EV is quite high compared to an internal combustion. So if you get the newest 100 kilowatt hour battery pack Tesla and you leave it in your garage, or the worst case scenario, you get the new Dodge Ram has a 217 kilowatt hour pack. That's the equivalent of like 18 Tesla Powerwalls. And you get that and you just kind of drive it to Roberts and back, and you will never have it be better than the other ICE Dodge Ram that you had in your garage.
Yeah.
So you have to drive the car for it to be good. And so I think that's, and I keep saying this, I'm not like anti-Portola Valley, I live here, but I think a lot of people want the latest and greatest thing. But if you get the latest and greatest thing just to have it and not to use it, then it actually ends up being worse in the case of EVs.
Good point.
So we have 2 zip cars for this. Yeah, maybe not a flagship opportunity.
Okay, so any other topics we want to put on the agenda for next time?
So does anybody know Debbie Mitel's fossil-free buildings, Silicon Valley, is who put on that?
That was the home tour?
Yeah, it was last September, the home
Oh,
tour.
wow. And you did that, you went on that?
Did that. It was fabulous.
Hmm.
Yeah, everybody was very willing to open up their whole home, and explain. all
And it
the
was not, it
electrics.
was not just electric, right? I think that
It was
wasn't.
electrification.
Oh.
Let's see, how was it advertised? Green and electrified home tour. It says green and, but
Mhm.
it was, a lot of them were in Palo Alto. There was one or two in Woodside. I don't think there were any in Portola Valley. There was one in Los Altos, Los Altos Hills.
South Peninsula.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So anywhere from Woodside to, I think
Los
somewhere in
Altos.
somewhere in Sunnyvale. Actually, we didn't go.
Are we not doing section D on the,
On the agenda.
So the section D is, it's a standing thing we have
Okay, yeah, yeah,
on the agenda that Brandy felt it would be important to
Yep.
have there. Really, it's a placeholder
Yeah.
just to remind us that if we're going to add new things that we
Mm.
want to do beyond what's on our current list, especially if it's going to draw on staff resources, we need to talk about it and we need to maybe reprioritize
Okay.
because that was really the reason
Understood.
why that item's there.
and then two more quick things. How about the green waste tour?
So,
Brandy.
well, because Brandy is.
Okay, that's a Brandy thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
she is going to communicate with us offline about the progress on the tour idea, but she couldn't make it a meeting.
So how about under proposed topics, I put for next time, a list of some of these things we can get people as representatives for? Does that sound fair?
To construct the list, basically?
Well, I have a list I can put under
Sure.
the
Yeah,
agenda.
to get it started.
So we can just get it started, yeah.
Yeah, sure, sure. That'd be great.
And I snuck plant-based eating in there.
You see what?
I snuck plant-based eating in the list.
Plant-based eating? Yes, okay. All right, if there's nothing else, then is there a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Second?
I'll second.
All right, everybody in favor of adjourning?
Yes.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Nope. All right. That was a short meeting on a scale of,
Well done.
I would email it to me if you would. That'd be great.
Try to contact Debbie myself.
So
Generally.
I was interacting with Jeff Alves, or person designated as the liaison with our committee. Peninsula Clean Energy is planning to put together a home tour on the same topic in October. And he asked whether we wanted to have some accelerated version of a tour because of our own, we expressed interest in that. And I basically said no, because it's a big deal to organize. So if there's one coming in October, we could just be advertising that and go to that, right? So,
Well, yeah. I mean, is there an opportunity for maybe Portola Valley residents to volunteer to be in that tour, or do they already have it set?
I don't think it's set. So that's a great question. Why don't, I'll confer with Jeff about that. What, are you personally wanting to? do that?
No, we don't have any more.
Okay.
That's all we got.
Well, so I
because we
think-
haven't-
I think the basis for engaging Jeff about that would be if any one of us felt that our home would be a good one to have on that tour, then we could say, hey, you know, will Peninsula Clean Energy include our home? Jay, are you interested in having your home be on a big tour like that? Yeah? I will connect Jay. I'll just send a note to Jeff saying it's organized.
Richard owns City Harbor. He's one of the owners. Oh, Richard, yeah. He may want, yeah, he may volunteer.
I would even find out whether he wants to do it.
Send me the word. I'll email him. And ask
Okay.
him if he
All
can do
right, well, let me ask
You know,
Jeff
like
if he feels there's,
something.
yeah, okay.
What's his name? Lavelle. And he's the TV hardware owner.
Yeah, he's one of the owners, I think. He owns the rest.
Oh.
This is new house. His new house. I just don't know what was in it. We were there.
Okay, well, we're all in the Peninsula Clean Energy, Portola Valley is a Peninsula Clean Energy area, yeah. Yeah, there is a service area, but, okay, good. Right,
So why do a date available date